All right, we are about a third of the way through the NBA season, and with the NBA Cup break, which has pretty much given each team kind of a week off, not exactly, but a lot more of a break this week from the action. I think this is a great time to go through and revisit each NBA award and kind of talk about where my predictions are lining up, as well as how these awards look like they are going to shake out as the season progresses. Basically, who would win them now and who I think will win them as the season progresses. Before we hop into it, if y'all haven't already, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Help me push towards the 2,000 subscriber mark on the channel, uploading multiple NBA videos every single day. Would really appreciate it if y'all do subscribe. Without further ado, let's hop right into it. I'm going to go award by award for the 6 main player awards. And the reason that I have FanDuel's odds pulled up is because I think this gives us a good picture of where the award races are right now, about a third of the way through the season. And I think it's a very, very good time to kind of revisit these awards. And so, yeah, we'll start with the MVP award. I am kind of the opinion right now that MVP is probably a 2-horse race. Now, I will say guys like Giannis, Luka, Tatum are going to be in contention, but I do think right now it's looking like it's a Jokic versus Shea award. Obviously, Jokic is having one of the greatest individual seasons we've ever seen, maybe statistically the greatest individual season in my lifetime, and really since probably Wilt Chamberlain. Like, I think on paper, this is about the greatest statistical season that any player has ever had that Nikola Jokic is having so far this season. But the thing is, Shea is the #1 seed in the West, and realistically, the Thunder will likely, unless there are injuries, run away with the top seed in the Western Conference. They look to be pretty distinctly the best team in the West and maybe the best team in basketball, even without Chet Holmgren. And that is the issue right there for the Nikola Jokic MVP argument, is the fact that the Nuggets are currently the 7 seed. And look, Jokic has, I think, probably the greatest on-off stats of any player in the history of the NBA. I mean, the Nuggets are literally 30 points per 100 possessions better with Jokic on the court, which is absolutely mind-boggling. But the Thunder are the best team in the league, probably, at least on paper. They will finish with a top 3 record in basketball. They will finish with likely, by far, the best record in the West. And Shea is on pace to average over 30 a game, over 5 rebounds, over 6 assists. And he's doing it pretty efficiently. He's not doing it on Jokic levels of efficiency. To be fair, nobody does. But it's hard to argue that those numbers that Shea is putting up this year on, I would say, pretty much career best efficiency, especially from the 2-point, like inside the 3-point line. He's having an amazing year, and on the 1 seed, it becomes an interesting discussion because of what happened last year, where obviously I made a video on the MVP discourse earlier this week. I personally believe that Luka should have won the award last year. I think the main reason that he didn't was because the Mavs were the 5 seed, the Nuggets were the 1 seed, or I guess the 2 seed. But they had 7 more wins than the Mavs. The wins argument is going to be the main agenda for why I think some voters and some fans will believe that Jokic shouldn't win the award, because I do believe that unless there is some sort of significant injury, Jokic will still end with, on paper, the most valuable season. I do personally think Jokic is having such an incredible year that if he finishes the year anything close to what he's doing right now, efficiency-wise, and averaging a 30-plus point triple-double, then it's going to be really, really hard to not give him the award, kind of regardless of Denver's record in the standings. They would have to have a really rough year, like finish around 500 probably, for Shea to still win the award. But I do think that Shea is going to be in the race. If I was predicting today, I definitely think that I would lean Jokic as the winner, though. And my prediction before the season was Luka, which unfortunately looks like that one might backfire a little bit. Rookie of the year, I predicted Reed Shepherd would win Rookie of the Year before the season started. That one has not looked good because he just hasn't played much on the Rockets. And in all honesty, in the games that he has played, he hasn't played great. He's not even close to really any of the odds for Rookie of the Year. It does look like realistically Jared McCain is kind of running away with that award, but I will say that as of late, Jared McCain has started to play a little bit less well as of late. He's been fine. He's still having a very good year, averaging 16 and doing it while actually playmaking pretty good and doing some shot creation stuff as well, but he's not quite having the electrifying run that he was on a few weeks ago when he was averaging 20-25 a game as a starter for the Sixers. Now that they're healthy, I think his opportunity, or at least more healthy, I think his opportunity is declining a bit, but he is still one of their most consistent and one of their best players, and he's going to do that on a team that will likely be a playoff team. So I think it's still kind of hard to say that McCain won't win the order or won't win that award. With that being said, Stephon Castle is having a great year in his own right. If he was a little bit more efficient shooting the ball, I would have no problems whatsoever with giving him the award, but his offensive efficiency needs a lot of work. He's got to develop as a shooter. That being said, he's an impact defender, and he is a really, really high-level player with a lot of size and a lot of versatility to his skill set. He's going to be a really good player for a long time. But I do think right now it's still going to be Jared McCain. I agree with the odds. I think those are fair. Defensive player of the year. This would have been an awesome debate if Chet Holmgren hadn't gotten hurt, because Chet was starting the year at an unbelievable pace defensively. But my prediction before the season was that Victor Wembanyama would win defensive player of the year. And I'm not going to lie to y'all. The odds say he's running away with it. And I think that in reality, he is running away with it. I think it's hard to argue that a guy who is as unbelievably impactful as he is in the defensive end of the court, averaging 3.5 blocks a game, over a steal a game as well. And those are just like counting stats. The defensive impact he has goes beyond counting stats. Teams do not want to attack him in the paint in a way that they don't fear, I don't think, any other big in basketball. He is just so lanky, so athletic. His timing is so good. Even his defensive switchability and versatility is incredibly impressive. The only real critique of Wemby defensively is that he does still struggle at times against overly physical, elite interior big men. And that will create issues at times for him. But for the most part, he really doesn't have any serious issues defensively. And I think he's the most impactful defensive player in the sport. He might win the next 10 defensive player of the years. And I think that one's a pretty easy award where you got to give him the edge right now. Now, most improved player is a really awesome award this year because there are a lot of guys having great seasons. Jalen Williams, obviously, but Tyler Hero has been the best offensive player on the Heat this year, and it's not particularly close. Jalen Johnson is having an elite season for the Hawks, really elevating his game at a very high level as well, doing everything, averaging like 20, 10, and 5. Dyson Daniels has been the best defensive guard in the sport this year and is having an incredible year in his own right, leading the league in steals by a very wide margin. And by the way, he is the one guy as well for defensive player of the year that I think if a guard were to win it, it would be him. The problem is he's so far down the list at this point. It's very clear that the defensive player of the year is not going to go to a guard realistically. But I do think that if it was, Dyson Daniels would be the most deserving, at least to this point in the year. With that being said, for most improved player right now, I think the award personally would have to go to Tyler Hero. Now, the reason that I say that is because despite J-Dub improving his game so much in a lot of ways and being as good of a two-way player as he is, Tyler Hero is shooting a career high from three, over 42% from three on a career high in attempts by almost 2 a game, shooting about 10 threes a game. He's also having by far the most efficient season of his career inside the three-point line as well. And I mean by a massive chunk, by 5 percentage points over his previous career high, which was 2020-21 and 22-23. He is having an incredibly efficient season and is scoring the ball at about almost 4 points a game more than he has these last few years. He has elevated his offensive play to a completely different stratosphere, efficiency-wise and just straight-up numbers-wise, doing it without really turning the ball over more, despite the fact that he is getting more assists this year. He's got more responsibility than ever offensively, and he's doing it at a ridiculously efficient rate. I think J-Dub is having a great year as well, but right now I don't think Tyler Hero is honestly getting enough respect and enough attention for how incredible of a season he's having in Miami. I feel like he would be the guy for me for most improved player. Sixth man of the year. If you don't think it's Peyton Pritchard, you're crazy. DeAndre Hunter has been awesome since he returned from injury for the Hawks. He's had a great stretch and he's had a great year so far. But Peyton Pritchard is having an exceptional season. There are very few teams in basketball that have the luxury of a guy like Peyton Pritchard coming off their bench. He would be, I'm not kidding when I say I think there's an argument to be made that if Peyton Pritchard were on a bad team, he would be an all-star. He is having, again, unbelievably efficient year. Now, he's always been a super efficient offensive player, but especially this year, what in the world? 68% from three on, I guess, only 2.5 attempts a game, but still 68% from inside the three-point line, 43% on almost 9 attempts a game from three. This dude is having an unbelievably efficient year. He's another guy who, by the way, should be pretty high up there in a most improved player. I just don't know if he's enough of a star to win the award, but Dude, he is having an incredible year, efficiency off the charts, providing a massive offensive lift. A guy who on any given night can come in and give you 20, 25, even 30 points if need be. If he was on a worse team than the Celtics, I think Peyton Pritchard would be putting up incredible numbers. He is running away with the sixth man of the year right now, and I don't even think it's really a close argument. And then coach of the year. I do think that it comes down to these three guys. I really think the odds are doing a good job of describing where these races are right now. Cavs, Rockets, and Magic. The reason that I'm going to rule out Jamal Mosley for right now, though, in my contention is mainly because of the Paulo and Franz injuries. Not his fault, but it is probably going to knock the Magic a spot or two down in the standings, whereas the Rockets look to be a serious top four team in the West and a squad that could finish as high as second in the West after the Thunder, I think. That was my preseason prediction as well, was that Ime Udoka would get the Rockets playing great and that he would win Coach of the Year. And look, I like that prediction. I think it's a good prediction. And here's the honest truth, y'all. The Cavs are an awesome, awesome basketball team. Kenny Atkinson has done a great job turning them from a good team to a truly great team. But I do think that realistically, they will at some point in the season slip a bit. I still think they're going to be the second best team in the East after the Celtics, but I would say that the improvement from the Rockets this year has been more dramatic and likely will be sustained at a more dramatic level than with the Cavs, which is why I'm leaning towards Ime Udoka still being the Coach of the Year, and I think I might have actually gotten that prediction right. That one looks to be my best of these award predictions for sure in terms of a prediction that wasn't an easy one to make, like Wemby Depoy. Everybody predicted that, because duh. But I'm pretty proud of that Ime Udoka shout because I do think he's the guy right now. If the season ended today, I'd probably give it to him, and I think when the season ends, he will be pretty distinctively the Coach of the Year, in my personal opinion. So with that being said, that is the 6 awards. Let me know what y'all think of the award races so far this year, who you're leaning towards at this point in the season. And if you did enjoy the video, make sure you hit that like button, leave a comment, and subscribe. I will be back with more NBA content very, very soon, and I appreciate y'all. Peace.